Hey guys, by a round of applause, who here hates clapping? Perfect. Because this next comedian coming to the stage specifically asked me not to say this because she was worried that you guys would just applaud uproariously. Ladies and gentlemen, the winner of the first, second, and fourth annual Meghan Cook Lookalike Contest, the amazing Meghan Cook!
I was gunning for lookalike in year 3, but I lost. So I've been trying to avoid overalls, JanSport backpacks lately. They de-aged me by like 10 years. I was getting into an Uber recently, and the Uber driver looked around as if waiting for more people to get into the car. I was like, no, just me. He's like, are your parents coming? I was like, no. My parents got divorced when I was 14, so if they're coming, they're not doing it at the same time. It's like a sad, funny joke. You can laugh. Who in here has divorced parents? Raise your hand. Do you guys remember where you were when your parents told you they were getting divorced? Like at home, maybe like a nice restaurant? Where were you at?
It was
Before.
I remember.
Before you remember?
Yeah.
I was told on a trip to Busch Gardens amusement park.
It's worse.
Yeah. My parents hadn't gone on a family vacation with us in like 4 years, and I was like, the band's getting back together. This is great. Love is in the air on the Big Bad Wolf roller coaster. I got to ride all the rides, and then at the very end, my parents said, it's not that we hate each other, we just don't love each other anymore. And the only thing that makes that story better is that it happened at Busch Gardens and not in Disney World, because that would be the point of the story where my dad would have stood up from the picnic table and been like, well, speaking of single dads, let's get in line to meet Goofy. But I would have had a turkey leg after, so glass half full. I heard an ad on the radio the other day that said, together we can defeat hungry children. And I was like, yeah. I mean, if we all group together, it just doesn't seem like a fair fight. They're already so weak, so hungry. I saw a sign outside of McDonald's and it said, now hiring, double cheeseburgers. And I was like, wow, nobody wants to work anymore, huh? Hiring burgers. I guess these burgers gotta pull themselves up by their beef straps and get to work. I actually think it's a perfect system because a burger could take your order for you, and then when you pull up to the window, they just hop in your car. And I'm gonna trademark that one. I was on a date with a man one time. His name was Brad. It's my first red flag. I'm exactly what you think I am. All of my ex-boyfriends have very milquetoast names. Matt, Marty, Brad, Sam, John. If there's a Zach in the crowd, we're gonna fuck tonight. That's not on me, that's just fate. But I was on a date with Brad, and a David Bowie song came on the radio. We were eating gyros. I was like, oh God, Modern Love, RIP. Love that guy. And he was like, what do you mean? I was like, David Bowie passed away. And Brad was like, no, he didn't. And I was like, okay, Brad. And he was like, no, wait, David Bowie isn't dead. And for context, this story does take place in April of 2015. David Bowie was alive at that point, my bad. And I don't mind being wrong. It was just the smugness with which he put his zero down, looked it up on his phone, showed me that I was wrong, laughed at me. He was a real asshole about it. But don't worry guys, I showed him. We only dated for 6 more months. And I introduced him to my dying great-grandmother. And I lost my virginity to him. That was on different days. Different days that happened. But we go our separate ways. We break up. And I don't hear from Brad until he texts me out of the blue. It was out of the green. He is an Android user. Sends me a green message, January 10th, 2016. The text reads, hey, hope you're happy. David Bowie's dead. Which I think just proves that women are right eventually. You just gotta give it some time. Let's sit. I had a big date recently. I think the ladies in here know when a special date's coming up, you put some time and effort in. I shaved everywhere. I shaved my legs front and back, my tops of my thighs. I shaved under my arms. I even shaved my little big toe area, my big bike area. The improper. Anyway, I put like 2 hours in to looking real cute, feel good. We go on our date, and then my boyfriend of 2.5 years breaks up with me. And I gotta tell you, the heartbreak was rough, but there is a unique anger that women have when you spend 2 hours shaving your body down to look like Kyle XY just for a man to dump you. That'll sit for a while. That's gonna percolate. I was in line at cookout at 2 a.m. because that's what you do when you're going through a breakup. And it was the cookout on College Road, the normal one, not the Taco Ruse one. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? I think we all forgot about that too quickly, but there was just a Taco Ruse on College Road for a while, and then it was a cookout. And did they buy it? Were they selling kangaroo meat? Was it shut down? I don't know, I have a lot of questions. Anyway, for this joke, imagine that I'm at the real one, the original one. And at that one, you have 2 lanes to drive through. You've got the regular lane, and then you've got the passenger side lane where someone has to take the food for you from the right side of the car. I am so out of my mind with heartbreak that I order my food, and then I pull up and I realize I'm in the wrong lane. Not a problem, I'll just roll my window down. My passenger side window's stuck. It's not going down. So I unbuckle my seatbelt, park my car, open the sunroof, pop my little head out, and then reach across the roof of my car like I'm John fucking Kennedy. Just to pay for a Weenie Hut Junior tray. It was so embarrassing. Then on top of that, I did spill ketchup all over myself getting back in my car, which just makes that metaphor way more upsetting visually. I think I peaked at 10 because I had my birthday party at Medieval Times. Do you guys know what Medieval Times is? Yeah. Grown men pretend to fight for a woman's hand in marriage on horses while you eat bread and soup with your hands. It's the best day of my life. And on top of that, you root for a certain knight based on the section you sit in, and my knight won, the Blue Knight. It was incredible. And afterwards, I got to meet him. I don't know what his name is, it's just Blue Knight. But he came up to me and he was like, "How are you this evening, my lady?" And I was like, "Great, I'm 10 and it's my birthday." Because those are like the 2 big things you're about when you're a kid. And he was like, "I knew it was your birthday and that's why I won just for you." And now we're married. Which, you know, seems worrying, but it's actually just historically accurate to the time period. It's very normal for a 30-year-old man to marry a 10-year-old. We've had 10 kids. 5 did die of dysentery, but the rest work in the stable, so it all works out. Sort of broke even on that one. When I was 3 years old, I mean, we've all been there. You know, when you try and stand on an inflatable beach ball in your living room and you slam your face into a glass coffee table. Am I right? I smashed all the cartilage in my growing nose, and I lost the ability to smell at a very young age, which doesn't affect my life that much. I do worry that I'll probably die of a carbon monoxide leak at some point, but until then I'm fine. Not a big difference in my life. I will say, looking back, like, the way kids bullied me growing up makes a little more sense now in hindsight. Like, I didn't realize for a while that farts smell bad. I just thought that they sounded funny. And I thought I was a real class clown, just farting it up all day, making people laugh. I was like, God, that's so damn funny. I'm popular, just making people laugh. It wasn't until a teacher pulled me aside at recess and asked if I had a medical condition that she should worry about. And I was like, oh my God. Man, it makes sense why they call me Shrek now. I thought that they called me Shrek because I'm popular, quotable, funny, I have main character energy. But it's actually because I had a Shreky little swamp ass. So that one hurt. I've also always had a crippling fear about being indebted to people. I think in a former life I was like a petite man who owed like gonzo money to the mob or something, because I'm very anxious whenever I owe anybody anything. I was 4 years old on vacation with my family in Panama City, Florida, and I broke a snow globe in a thrift shop, and I watched as the cashier asked my dad to fork over $30, and I was 4. I don't know how much $30 was, but it sounded like a lot. And I was like, oh my God, I'm in the hole. So that night, I was racked with guilt, couldn't sleep. I snuck out of the rental house and walked down to the community beach, and I saw a sand dollar, and I was like, score, free money. Then I used my big oversized pajama shirt as a bucket. I started picking up sand dollars. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, those are all the ages I was or am. So at that point, I started making numbers up, but I think I got to 30. And then I realized at a certain point I couldn't find my way back home. I was technically a missing child on a beach in Panama City, Florida for 4 hours. And my name is in a police report somewhere. And my parents are going crazy looking for me. I was eventually found by a group of college students. And they found me. I was just a crying toddler, sobbing in the sand, surrounded by sand dollars. And they walked up to me, and they were strangers. But guys, they weren't strangers to me. They were customers. So I, shook off the sand, brushed away my tears, spread out my wares, and I was like, best I can do is $30. And I paid back my dad. I have to say, I have a lot of close calls in my life. When I was 8 years old, I was home alone for a morning, and I heated up 6 Eggo waffles, slathered them in syrup, and then I wolfed them down. I went to town. I started choking. I was home alone, and as my vision was flattening and I almost blacked out, I remember I just learned the Heimlich maneuver in the school assembly a week prior. I stood behind a wooden chair in the kitchen, and I gave myself the Heimlich maneuver. So I am my own hero. And they say don't meet your heroes. And I think that's right, because I live with myself every day, and I'm pretty fucking annoying. So I agree with that. But I will say that there's this element I've heard of when you survive a near-death experience and someone saves your life. The survivors talk about feeling indebted to the person who saved them. And I saved my own life, so I feel like I owe me. The only way to fix this is for me to save my life again. So on an unrelated note, when you guys are driving home, if you see me on the sidewalk, just swerve a little bit. I will push myself out of the way and save my life. And if you hit me, it's fine. I don't want to go to work tomorrow, so it's a win-win. Have a good night, everybody.
Meghan Cook! You guys have a good time? Yes. Yes. You learn something new every day. I did not know JFK's middle name was fucking. It was John fucking Kennedy. I didn't know that.